The room stank of whiskey, leather, and smugness. My father stood at the podium, red-faced from drink and ego, while the room buzzed with forced applause. He tapped his glass, cleared his throat, and delivered his farewell to the business he'd built like a kingdom. "My son gets the business," he said, voice booming with pride. Then, without pause, he turned his head toward me. "My daughter? A job at Wendy's, if she's lucky." Laughter rippled. Not the kind you can brush off, the cruel, knowing kind. And then my brother, already leaning back in his chair like a king who'd inherited the crown, sneered across the table at me. She'd screw that up too. The room went silent. Forks froze in midair. My mother shifted in her seat, pretending she hadn't heard. That's when the lawyer cleared his throat. I didn't flinch. I didn't blink. Because this was the moment I'd been waiting for. I should start at the beginning. When I was a child, my father called me his shadow. He'd let me sit on his lap during board meetings, whisper in my ear about margins and contracts, smile when I repeated them back. My brother was too busy smashing toy cars, too busy being careless. But I was the student. I thought that meant something. But by the time I hit 16, I realized what it really meant. I was practice, a decoy, a stand-in until the son got his act together. Every mistake my brother made was youth. Every triumph of mine was luck. And I swallowed it for years. Because that's what you do when you're waiting for the right moment. The betrayal wasn't sudden. It was gradual, like rust eating through steel. First, my father removed me from board meetings, said I was too soft. Then, my brother started inviting me to dinner, pretending to ask for advice, stealing my ideas and passing them off as his own. The breaking point came the day I found a draft of my father's retirement speech. My name wasn't in it. Not once. My brother's? 17 times. That's when I stopped crying, stopped begging, stopped caring what they thought of me. That's when I started planning. I didn't rage. Rage is loud. Rage leaves trails. I studied, quietly, patiently. I went back through every contract my father ever signed, every merger, every slip of paper he'd tucked into a drawer. I found loopholes, I found weaknesses, and I found leverage. My brother was worse, lazy, arrogant, addicted to shortcuts. He thought board members were his drinking buddies, and he left his fingerprints on every shady deal. I didn't confront him. I didn't even hint. I smiled at him at Christmas dinners, toasted him at family parties, and then slipped evidence into the right hands at the right time. One by one, allies shifted, quietly, subtly. My father thought he was handing over a fortress. He didn't realize the walls were hollow. Which brings us back to that night. The lawyer rose, papers in hand. My father kept grinning, my brother smirking. And then the lawyer began to read. Not my father's speech, mine. It detailed a new agreement, drafted months prior, signed in secrecy, notarized, sealed. It granted me majority control of the company through a trust my mother had established years ago. The signatures were there in ink. Mine, my mother's, mine. The silence in the room was thick enough to choke on. My brother's smirk broke first. He lurched forward, face draining color, trying to snatch the papers. "What the hell is this?" The lawyer didn't even flinch. "This is binding, effective immediately." My father's jaw clenched. He opened his mouth to argue, but the lawyer slid another document across the table. A ledger. Every crooked deal, every missing dollar. My brother's name was on every line. "This," the lawyer said, "is evidence of gross negligence, grounds for removal from any executive role." Eyes turned to me. For the first time, they weren't laughing. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. My brother sputtered, cursed, threatened. Security escorted him out. My father stared at me as though I'd stabbed him. But I hadn't. He'd handed me the knife years ago. I'd just waited until he turned his back. When the lawyer finished, he looked at me for confirmation. I nodded once. It was done. Afterward, when the room emptied and the clinking of glasses faded, I stood alone at the head of the table. The same table I used to sit at as a little girl, legs too short to reach the floor. I ran my hand along the polished wood, the weight of silence pressing down. Was it justice? Maybe. Was it revenge? Absolutely. But more than anything, it was survival. My father thought legacy was blood. My brother thought it was entitlement. They were both wrong. Legacy is control. And control belongs to the one who watches, waits, and never forgets. So when people ask me how it felt, watching my father's face collapse, my brother's empire crumble, I tell them the truth. It